on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being a very poor performance and 10 being the best India could have done, how would you rate India's performance at the Olympic Games?
I would say this was an Olympics of missed opportunities.
What's actually happening on ground?
There would have been 30 AstroTurf grounds in India at that time. Today, I think there will be close to 300. In 2008-9, there must have been 30-40 badminton courts in Hyderabad, Bangalore. Today, there are 5 to 7,000 courts in each of these cities. I'm on the Mission Olympic cell. I think the quality of support from the government side, top scheme is incredible. Khelo India has been a great initiative. No matter how much you invest in the athlete, who's the coach sitting behind them, finally the athlete goes and plays on the field. People who know nothing about nutrition, nothing about weight loss, nothing about wrestling suddenly become experts overnight. So much emotional attachment towards hockey, and we need to tap into that base.
How do you guys work on identifying talent?
We're not looking at very good talent. We're looking at outstanding talent. I think the mental strength of para athletes is something that all of us can really learn from.
Hi everyone, welcome to Sportify Conversations. Now, if you were to make a list of people who have worked and succeeded at changing sports in India, there's one name that would be on everyone's list, and that's Viren Rasquinha. Now, if you watched this year's Olympics, then you saw Viren on your screen every day as part of the Geo Cinema coverage team. But here's a little bit more about his background. Viren is a former captain of the Indian hockey team. He represented India at the 2004 Olympic Games. After retiring from hockey, Viren joined Olympic Gold Quest, where he's currently the CEO. Now, Olympic Gold Quest is an organization whose mission is to support Indian athletes in winning Olympic gold medals. The people behind Olympic Gold Quest, or OGQ, are Geet Sethi, Prakash Padukone, Vishwanathan Anand, Neeraj Bajaj, just to name a few, and of course, Viren. Under Viren's leadership, OGQ has identified and supported many successful athletes and para-athletes. 4 out of the 5 individual medal winners at this year's Olympics were supported by OGQ. So there's very few people that know the subject better than Viren does. Viren, thank you for joining me today on Sportify.
Thank you, Pranav. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
So Viren, let me start off with a straight up question. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being a very poor performance and 10 being the best India could have done, how would you rate India's performance at the Olympic Games, and what were your expectations before the Games?
I think I would rate the performance at about 6.5 out of 10. I think the reason being that I would say this was an Olympics of missed opportunities. The 6 medal winners obviously did really well. I felt that India definitely had the potential to reach 10 medals. Sometimes you got to look at the Olympics from different parameters in terms of measurement of success and not just the Olympics. So, it was disappointing. If you look at the 4th place finishes, we had 6 of them for India. For sure, some of them could have converted into a medal. If you look at overall perspective also, there were 23 athletes or / teams that came in the top 8. So a quarterfinal level or top 8 position. So from the positive side, I think we're throwing many more athletes who are coming closer to Olympic medals. I think now as a country, the challenge in front of us is how do we convert these top 8 and top 4 positions into medals, and how to convert all those bronze medals into a better color. So that is the big challenge in front of us. And the margins are very fine. At the highest level, you're looking at the 1%ers. So we have to see how do we get 1% better.
So that kind of leads me actually to my next question, because and I'm looking back, I've been following the Olympics for years now, but it felt like in 2008 and 2012, there was a bit of a change, right? We had Abhinav Bindra winning his gold medal. We won 3 medals that year. We won 6 medals in 2012. And there was a general sense that, India could become a sports powerhouse and a significant player in the sports ecosystem. And then the conversation at that time was really revolving around, give us 12 to 16 years. As in, give the nation 12 to 16 years, you would see, because that's the time it takes to develop the infrastructure, the facilities, develop athletes who are still young right now if we want them to be medal winners in 2024. And Yes, we've seen progress. I mean, in 2008, we sent 57 athletes to the Olympics. This year, we sent 117 athletes to the Olympics. So there's been that progress. Maybe not as much on the medal side, but what's actually happening on ground, right? If you were to take yourself back to 2008 and look at the where you felt India should be as a nation in terms of facilities, infrastructure, identifying talent. I'm assuming we need 1,000 coaches in 100 different disciplines. Um, are we is there actually progress happening on ground? I know Khelo India has started. Are we ahead of our schedule? Are we on schedule? Are we behind schedule? And if it's not, if we're behind schedule, where is the gap and what needs to be done?
Yeah, it's not such a easy question to answer in a couple of minutes. The entire sporting scenario is a very vast scenario. In terms of improvement, I would say there's massive improvement. I retired in 2007. There would have been 30 AstroTurf grounds in India at that time. Today, I think there will be close to 300. In 2008-9, there must have been 30, 40 badminton courts in Hyderabad, Bangalore. Today, there are 5 to 7,000 courts in each of these cities. So, infrastructure wise, we are 100% we've improved. I think coaches in various sports, number of coaches in established sports like shooting, badminton, we have improved. If you look at athletes participating in the national championships, junior national championships, numbers have gone up by 5 to 10 times, depending on which sport we're talking about. But like I said, you can't only look at it with a very limited lens of just Olympics, because you're talking about grassroots sport, you're talking about junior sport, you're talking about competition structure at all levels, especially for girls and women. I think competitions are really lacking in most sports. In my experience of being in sports for the last 25 years, maybe previous 10, 15 years as a player, now into administration with OGQ. I used to be part of the SAI governing body. I'm on the Mission Olympic Cell. I think the quality of support from the government SAI top scheme is incredible. I think the top 300 athletes are getting a very high level of support. Unthinkable during my time to get even anywhere remotely close to this support. What we need is now that support to go down and percolate down deeper into junior programs, grassroots development programs, potentially wanting to host the 2036 Olympics. Today, those kids who are going to play at 2036 are in the age group of 11 to 15 years old. We have to ensure that we identify the most talented young kids and ensure that they have the best coaches at this point of time.
So is that being done in a lot of different areas?
We're getting there. In some sports, it is being done. In some sports, still a lot of work to be done. Like you had mentioned, Khelo India has been a great initiative. I mean, if I was an under 17 or under 21 player and I was getting to play tournaments of the quality of Khelo India, where the infrastructure is good, the facilities are good, the platform is good, you get recognized if you perform. And like I said, competition structure is so important. You need good, strong competitions where you can pit your skills against the best in the country at an early age. Competition is the best form of feedback. And it sort of tells you where you stand against the best in the country. Where do you need to improve? What more you need to do? It gives feedback to the athlete. It gives so much feedback to the coaches. So the Khelo India is, I think, a great initiative.
Speaking of coaches, I'm going to talk about a coach who was there at the Olympic Games. Prakash Padukone made some comments that post Lakshya Sen's loss, and he talked about that athletes now need to take ownership. And maybe he was talking specifically about badminton, saying infrastructures in place, coaches are in place, nutritionists are in place. So athletes have to go, and we can get you there, but you need to grab that opportunity. I think was the sense of his thing. It kind of led to a little bit of a polarization. There were some people in the media and fans that said, "Oh, we need to support our athletes either way." And there were some people that said, look, they're Indian, so we are going to support them either way, but they've got to win also. And we have to expect more from our athletes. And that's when we'll get more from your athletes. So what are your thoughts on what he said and how fans, media, as well as athletes need to evaluate their performances?
I think Prakash sir is a legend. He's been there, done that, achieved at a time where athletes had zero support. I mean, he won the All England without a coach, without a physio, trainer, nutritionist, with barely a badminton court available to train, no sparring partners. When you think of it, I mean, he's achieved it all where there was literally zero support. No precedence of Indians being world number one in any sport. So I think he has every right to air out his feelings. And yes, I think he mentioned specifically that players have to take more responsibility. And I have to agree with that. Sometimes you can say timing can be better, and maybe sometimes it's best to wait a little bit. But Prakash sir is right in, see, because no matter how much you invest in the athlete, who's the coach sitting behind them, finally the athlete goes and plays on the field. The final responsibility lies with them. See, it doesn't matter which way you look at it. No one's right or wrong over here. Prakash sir is saying it in all good intentions, right? To make Indian athletes more responsive. There's no misintent. I'm not
Of
getting
course
the
not.
right word in that way. And if you look at intentions, he's saying it with all the right intentions for Indian sport, not to put any particular athlete down, or for sure not Lakshya Sen as
Definitely
well.
not.
And
Yeah.
we all felt, in fact, Prakash himself says Lakshya had a great tournament. He beat three higher ranked players, higher seeded players, and
Yeah.
yes, he did not go across the finish line in the way that we would have wanted to. But this is sport; these things happen.
Yeah. I was fortunate enough to be at one of your OGQ events when Vinesh Phogat spoke, and this was a couple of years ago, and she spoke about the losses in Rio and the losses in Tokyo, and how it impacted her. And I just I mean, you were there, Viren, but to everyone who's watching this, you must know that 95% of the room had had tears in their eyes and was choked up by it. And while watching the semi final, I was watching it with friends, and when she reached the final, I told them the story, and was choking up even then. So what happened with her really was tough to swallow. And out of all the things that happened in the Olympic Games, I got hundreds of messages and questions about what happened with Vinesh, and I think you clarified a lot of it on Twitter with the note that you put out. But just a couple of questions on that, which people have sent me and would love your expert view on. What happened with her and the weight is, could that have been prevented by, was this something that
No,
the nutrition missed?
I think Vinesh, there was no miscalculation. We have analyzed everything, spoken to Vinesh deeply. There's nothing. The simple thing, it was a tough weight category to be in. Vinesh had no choice. She
Okay.
had to go into 50. People can talk anything. I'm honestly not bothered. We don't need to be answering every single person who doesn't know reality, ground reality. So when someone is 57 and goes into 50 with no choice, I think the best possible efforts were made both by Vinesh, by the team. People talk about calculations and all. When people don't know anything, there's no need to justify, and there's no
Right.
need. People who have know nothing about nutrition, nothing about weight loss, nothing about wrestling, suddenly become experts overnight. So I don't feel the
But
need
that,
to justify.
but no, but that's why I was asking you, right? Because I think that
my
a lot,
my
yeah,
the tweet which I put out
yeah.
explained everything. There's no need to go any further or go
Okay.
any further into this. It was already explained as it needs to be.
Got it. Okay. Next question actually I had about hockey, which is, you know, your sport. And I was privileged and blessed to be in the stadium when we won the bronze this year. I was there. It was an incredible experience. Firstly, following this hockey team, this entire journey, this entire Olympics was unbelievable. I have not cheered so much at a stadium, and I've been for World Cup finals, but I've not cheered for an Indian team as much as I cheered that day. Why is hockey marketed so badly? I just feel like we have such a great legacy in this sport. I mean, and no disrespected to any other athletes in any other sport, but you see other sports, suddenly they do well in one match, and we're talking about their Bollywood biopic, right? And hockey, which where we have such good legacy, and you take a career like Srijesh, is why is hockey not getting the recognition it deserves? And this Hockey India League coming back after 8 years, you see some change happening in that, and it getting that garnering that interest that it frankly deserves.
Yeah, I think first of all, I totally agree with you. The hockey team played really well. Also, coming on the back of a not very encouraging run of form in the lead up to Paris Olympics. We played really well at the Asian Games where we won gold, but since that Asian Games gold, we had actually not played so well. I wouldn't have put us as favorites to win a medal in the lead up to Paris, but just so impressive the team was throughout the tournament, especially that quarterfinal against Great Britain, being a man down, 10 men playing against 45 against 11 for 45 minutes. I know how hard it is to survive. It's tough enough against the top teams to play 5-10 minutes with a man down. Full marks to Craig Fulton. I thought his tactics were spot on in most of the matches. The fitness levels of the team were great, so really good. Coming back to the next part of your question on why isn't hockey marketed so well, honestly, I really can't say. I've stayed out of hockey, so I don't have an answer to that. My job is to look at performance and not even in hockey, so I don't know too much about that. I think the raw material is there to market hockey a lot, make a big difference, but I haven't really put too much thought into that. Like I said, I prefer to focus on performance. Marketing is not my expertise.
Yeah, I just hope it does get the recognition, because that experience of being in the stadium, not just because we won, but just cheering on India.
No, and like you, there are thousands and thousands, maybe millions of hockey fans all over the country. There's so much emotional attachment towards hockey, and we need to tap into that base.
Going back to your role at OGQ, it's something that I think I know I would be interested in knowing. I think a lot of people would be interested in knowing is, how do you guys work on identifying talent, right? And saying that, okay, look, listen, this kid has the potential to and what their ceiling is in terms of where they can reach, and we should invest in our time and our resources on this individual.
OGQ focuses on individual Olympic sports. Out of the 9 Olympic sports we support, 5 are priority sports, which is badminton, boxing, shooting, archery, wrestling, weightlifting, athletics, few events in athletics, jumps and throws, swimming, table tennis. These are some of the other sports that we support. But I wouldn't say that we go as deep as we go into shooting, badminton, boxing, archery, wrestling. Within these 5 priority sports, over the last decade and a half, we have created an army of coaches at the ground level across the country who are our eyes and ears on the ground. They bring to our notice the most talented under 10, under 12, under 14, under 16 players. We have a full-fledged research team that researches every under 12, under 14, under 16 performance, state, national level. And we're not looking at very good talent. We're looking at outstanding talent. So it's not too hard to separate the wheat from the chaff. And today we have over 150 athletes in the age group of 11 to 19 years of age. So they are going to be the future. We started supporting Sindhu when she was 13 years old, Lakshya Sen when he was 10 years old, Aman Sehrawat when he was 15 years old, Deepak Punya 15 years old, Ravi Kumar 16 years old, Manu Bakar 15 years old, Arjun Babuta 16 years old. So the track record speaks for itself in terms of the identification of talent. It's not rocket science. It's actually what happens after that. The next steps are important because in India, one of the biggest challenges we face is transitioning from talented juniors to actually going and winning the medal at senior level at the Olympics. That is the biggest challenge. So the next 8 years are the tough part. It's one thing to identify talent. The harder part is actually executing and implementing.
Yeah. One last question, because the Paralympics are also on, and I know you at OGQ support a number of Paralympic athletes, and we've seen great results. If you compare Rio to Tokyo to today in Paris, where we are now the highest. I mean, for us, India's highest medal tally. When did OGQ start working on Paralympics? Because you're one of the few organizations that focus on it.
Yeah, we started researching in mid 2017, and we started supporting in 2019. So it was 1.5 years of research before we started supporting para athletes. So it's been now over 5 years. It's been a phenomenal experience, very humbling experience, very fulfilling experience, I would say. And we don't support the para athletes on merit. on sympathy. We support them only on merit. And if you look at Nishad Kumar with an amputated arm jumping 2.04 meters, that's like 1 foot above my head with one arm. That's crazy. If you look at Sheetal Devi doing what she does without arms, I mean, unbelievable will to win, desire to win, ability to beat all odds. I think the mental strength of para athletes is something that all of us can really learn from. So it's been a great experience. And I think also one thing, Pranav, that I just want to say is in terms of improvement of the whole sports ecosystem, I think one thing that has really happened well, especially in the last Olympic cycle, is the collaboration between different stakeholders. So SAI, TOPS, OGQ, Go Sports, JSW, Reliance, so many organizations actually working together with the system, trying to make the system better. Our goal is the same, to help Indian athletes win Olympic medals. And I think collaboration is the way forward as much as possible. We have to try and find ways to work with the system. Today, OGQ, we have MOUs with the Shooting Federation, Boxing Federation, Archery Federation, be it on sports science, coaching, etc. We have an MOU with Sports Authority of India to look after the National Center of Excellence in Rohtak, which is the boxing center of excellence, which is the best youth boxers in the country. Along with Dani Foundation, we're doing that. So it's a tripartite agreement. So lots of collaboration happening, and I feel that's something that is a very good sign for Indian sport. We have to all collaborate, pool in our resources to ensure that young athletes get the best possible support.
Congratulations to you, Viren. Thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate your insights and wish you all the best for the future as you continue your journey changing Indian sports.
Thank you, Pranav. Thank you. Much appreciate your kind words and all your support for Indian sport. Thank you.